So, hello and a massive warm welcome to you to this week's edition of the Soul Sync podcast. Now, we have got a story for you this week. My next guest, I must admit, the story firstly absolutely blew me away. Secondly, he is the most wonderful storyteller. And do you know what? Even despite the tragic circumstances of the story, he told the story with so much good humour. So you're in for a real treat. I record this episode for you literally on the full moon. And as the full moon enters my life for this month, the flower moon, I feel full of inspiration. It's been a tough month. I feel like I've been running. But I'm about to go on holiday in 2 weeks. I'm very excited about that. And I've just been trying to do lots with my mediumship, lots with meditation. But anyway, let's get on with the show. So this week, I've got Michael Paul, who began his career as a professional club DJ in Romford, London. His talent and passion for music soon caught the attention of larger platforms, leading to opportunities on some of the biggest county radio stations. Now, before his life-changing paranormal experiences, Mike was a staunch materialist, believing only in what he could see and touch. However, these extraordinary encounters shifted his world view entirely. Now, Mike's journey into the paranormal realm was ignited by the tragic murder of his best friend. This pivotal event set off a series of inexplicable encounters and unexplained phenomena that continue to fascinate and mystify Mike. During the show, Mike aims to delve into these paranormal experiences, offering insights, reflections, and perhaps even revelations about the nature of reality and the mysteries that lie beyond. So without further ado, this is my interview with Mike. So, Mike, firstly, a massive warm welcome onto the Soul Sync podcast.
Well, thank you very much, Jason. Thanks for inviting me.
Now, I was looking through all of the show notes earlier on, and it blew me away, your story. But let's go into it. Tell us about how your kind of experiences all got started.
Well, it's quite boring, the start, really, because I was a very material person. I was a hard-working club DJ and mobile DJ at the time. And I ended up getting work in a little club called, well, it wasn't a little club, it was a big club called Hollywood in Romford. And I met a guy who didn't actually like me to start with. His name was Russell Aylett. But we became very good friends because there was a weird connection between the two of us. He sort of knew what I was thinking, and I didn't have to say anything. And it was vice versa as well. Are you having strange things go on in the...
I'm just closing the door because my cat's already started meowing, Mike. So that does happen on this show occasionally. I could see him eyeing me up in the corner. I thought, don't you start. I'm closing the door. But nothing paranormal yet. Sorry, do carry on.
That's okay. So me and Russell became very, very good friends over the next few years. And we used to go back to his I used to work a Wednesday and Thursday night. And on a Thursday night, we used to go back to his flat, which was very near Hollywood's. We used to sit there and play cards or watch TV and drink tea until the cafes open. And we used to go and have a fry-up. One particular night, we was just talking about rubbish, really, to be honest with you. And he started laying cards down while he's talking to me. And he's doing this thing with his fingers, like twisting it on top of the card. And it was, if I remember rightly, it was 4 cards he used to lay down. And he said...
Like tarot cards?
No, it was just normal deck of playing cards.
Oh, okay.
And he said, yeah, look at this. He said, I've just noticed this. I can ask the question... And when I turn the cards over, 4 of them, it's either a positive, a negative, or a don't know. So 2 reds, 2 blacks, for example, would be a don't know. It's a 50-50. If you got 3 blacks, if I'm getting this right, 3 blacks or 4 blacks, it was a positive.
Oh.
And it went on, but it was one of the 3. And then he laid the cards down. He asked a question, laid the cards down that he knew the answers to, and the cards gave him the right answer. So he said, this is really weird. Asked a question. So I asked a question, bum, 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 bum. He turned the cards over, and it was a correct answer. So I asked another question, bum, 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 and it was a correct answer again. And I went, I ain't having this. I am not having this. This is codswallop. Something's going on here. You're doing something. No, he said, I'm not doing anything. And then it became really weird. So he then started talking about spirituality, because it was quite a spiritual person, was Russell. And he said, I wonder if the angels actually do exist. So I said, well, I don't suppose we'll ever know, Russ, to be honest with you, not until it's too late, and then we can't come back and tell anyone. He said, all right, well, let's make a pact now. Whoever goes first, you have to come back and tell the other one whether angels exist or not. So I said, yeah, all right then. I didn't think anything more of it. And we carried on doing the cards. And then I started asking questions that I didn't know the answers to. And it gave me an answer. So we done 3 or 4 of those, and then we went for a fry-up. Well, I found out over the... As you do, yeah. Nothing like a nice sausage and chips for breakfast. So over the next couple of weeks, I found out that all the answers the cards give me were right. So it was a very, very strange thing. And we've got no experience in this, you know, we're not tarot readers or anything like that. So we carried on with the friendship, and we got on really, really well. It was a meeting of minds, as I say. And then he went away. He disappeared over to Spain, because his mum lived in Spain. So he was over there, and I carried on working at Hollywood's until the new company took over, and then they closed it. And then all of a sudden, I get a phone call. This was about 10 or 12 years later. I get a phone call. Hello, Mike. It's Russ. So I said, hello, mate. What are you doing? He said, I'm coming back to the UK. Can I stay with you for a couple of nights? So I went, yeah, of course you can, mate. It'd be really nice to... We had a very similar sense of humour, stupid sense of humour. Really nice to see you. So I went and picked him up at the Stansted Airport, it was. And he came back from Alicante, where he was with his mum, and we stayed with me for a few nights. And then he said, right, I've got to find somewhere to live long term. So we set up 3 places, 3 bedsits to look at in Romford. Went to the first one, and while we was at the first one, the third one, the second one called and said, we can't make it at that time, can we put it later? So I went, yeah, of course you can. So we rung the third one and moved it forward. So we went to the first one. We then went to the second one, which was supposed to be the third one. And then we went to the third one, which was originally obviously the second one, and none of them was any good, none of these bedsits. So we came out of the third one. I said, so what are you going to do now then? And he went, let's try there. And he pointed, it was right opposite the YMCA in Romford. Mm-hmm. Let's try in there. So I went, oh, okay, all right then, mate. So we went up, we went to reception, and said, he said, I want a little room to stay in, all the rest. She went, oh, okay. And she picked the key up that was right in front of her on the desk. There you go. He said, she said, the cleaners just come out. It's all brand new. Go and have a look. So some bloke came out from reception and walked us up in the lift. I got such a bad feeling about that place, and I didn't know why. Really bad gut feeling. So we went up in the lift. We came out of the 6th floor, turned left, and it was a few doors on the left-hand side. Walked in, it was a very basic room, as you can imagine, but they wanted £115 a night. Sorry, £115 a week. Mm-hmm. So he said that there was just a bed and a wardrobe and the sink, and that was it really, and a couple of windows, a view over the car park at the back. So he said, yeah, go on, I'll take it. So we went downstairs. So I had to be his referee as such. So I signed up to give him a reference and put his name and address and telephone number down. And so he moved he turned up with a plastic bag with a few clothes in it, and that's all he had. So he wasn't going to go to any fancy dress parties. So he took it upstairs. He moved in, and then over that weekend, I got a phone call for the next. So he moved in on about the Friday, I think it was, or the Thursday. It might have been the Thursday. So over that weekend, I got a phone call from an agent that I had a corporate gig to do in Birmingham. He booked me for 2 nights, which was the Wednesday night and the Thursday night. And I was working on local radio at the time as well in Romford. So I'd come back on the Friday morning. So I booked the Thursday and Friday off air and got in the van with the equipment and what have you, and was driving that up to Birmingham. And he called me on the Wednesday afternoon. Hello there, what you doing? I said, I'm just in the car and I'm driving around with my hands free on, just in the car or my van. I'm driving up there. And he went, oh, okay, then all right. He said, so you'll be back Friday? I said, yeah, I'll be back Friday. And when he said that, you heard on the door. So he said, look, I've got to go. Someone's at the door. So I originally thought, well, he's only just moved in. I mean, who knows he's there? No one knows he's there. A bit strange, but yeah. I said, all right, mate, I'll give you a call when I'm on my way back. Put the phone down. So I came back and I called him on the Friday morning. I couldn't get any answer. It went straight to voicemail on his mobile. A friend of ours as well, a female friend, she called him. Couldn't get any answer. She rang me, said she's getting quite worried because she's called him a few times and can't get any answer. So I said, you know what Russell's like? He was a little bit flighty, to be honest with you. So I said, you know what Russell's like? He's probably gone out and got drunk somewhere, and he's probably sleeping it off or something like that. I said, I'll try and give him a call, perhaps tomorrow or something like that. So the Saturday morning come, and I was in the car again, and I got a phone call. So I've pulled the car over, took the phone call, and it was the YMCA, a guy from the YMCA, one of the management, and he said, hello there, is that Mike? So I said, yes. Well, have you seen Russell? So I said, no, I haven't seen him. I said I saw him about Tuesday night, which was the last full night I spent in Romford, in the flat. I said, he went, it's just that he needs to give us another week's worth of money to stay here. So I said, well, I'm sure he's floating about. I said, he's a bit flighty, to be honest. I said, check his room and see if he's there. Oh, okay. I said, if you go into his room, because we've got a female friend that keeps ringing him, I can't get an answer as well, see if you can find his passport. Because if his passport's there, that means he's definitely still here and he hasn't done a bunk because he can't get any work. I said, and I'll give him another day and then I'll report him as missing. She said, oh, okay, no problem. Put the phone down. That's all I heard. Hour and a half, 2 hours later, I get a phone call from the YMCA again. Hello, Mike. I said, yeah. He said, we're ringing up to see if you know where Russell is. I said, you rung me an hour and a half ago. I said, and it was the same bloke. I said, did you go and have a look in his room? No, I haven't. I said, well, go and look in his room and see if his passport's there. If his passport's there, I'll give him another day or so and I'll report him missing on Monday morning. So he went, I said, if you want, I said, because he's quite a private fella and he wouldn't want a stranger going through his clothes. I said, if you want, I'll come with you. He went, oh, no, there's no need for that. So I said, oh, okay, no problem. Put the phone down. So I've then gone home. It's Saturday night. I haven't got any work on this particular Saturday night. So I'm sitting there. I feel a little bit fluey. You know, when just the day before you get the flu, you feel like you're a bit tired. And so I'm sitting in a seat watching TV, and all of a sudden, my phone goes. Hello? Why aren't you answering your door? Sorry? Why aren't you answering your door? Mate, I haven't got a clue what you're talking about. Who is this? Said, it's Romford CID. Why aren't you answering your door? I went, hang on a minute. And I walked over and moved the curtains to one side. I was on the top floor flat, so I could look down. So I looked down, so I went, hang on a minute, I'll be down. Put the phone down. I went down the stairs and opened the door. He said, Romford CID, and he went to push his way in there. So I don't know who this man is now.
Yeah.
And we're talking Romford. It's not the calmest place in the world.
Sitting on the edge of my seat, Mike. You're a very good storyteller. I'm literally sitting here on the edge. But please carry on.
So he's tried to push his way in, and I've stood firm.
Yeah.
And then he put his hand in his pocket and he's pulled out a warrant. And the other policeman with him pulled out a warrant as well, because they were both dressed in suits. So then the other policeman went like this, and a WPC stepped out from the doorway, next door's doorway. So I went, oh, right, okay, all right, fellas, come in. So I went, what's this about then? Oh, well, we want to talk to you about Russell. I went, oh, go on, what's he done now? Because he was always doing stupid things. Very funny things, but stupid. Go on, what's he done now? Could we talk to you upstairs, please? So I said, yeah, of course we can. Come on in. What's he done? He said, we got to the top of the stairs and we was in, I'll never forget this, in like the hallway between my lounge and my dining room. And he said, we've found a body. I went, oh, right, okay. And that really does put a dampener on things at that particular point. Because you go, in your head, you're going, no, it can't be Russ. Can't be Russell. They've made a mistake. And they go, well, he wouldn't be here unless he was quite sure that I had a connection. So I said, okay, come in. And my girlfriend, who's now my wife, was there at the time. I said, they found a body, babe. I think it's Russ. Went into the lounge, sat down, and the room feels so small when someone... And I still feel quite emotional now when this happens. This is about the 5th podcast I've done, and I still feel emotional about it. So it feels really, really small, and you feel this really heavy weight on your shoulders. So they're sitting there and they're talking to me. Okay, where were you on Wednesday night? So I went, and at that point it's only Saturday, and I went. Think to myself, I thought, where was I Wednesday night? I said, oh, I was in Birmingham. I was working in Birmingham. He said, is there anybody that can verify this? So I said, yeah, there's about 250 people. It was a whole company, a sound and lighting crew. I said, if you want, I'll give you the telephone number of the agent that gave me the gigs. I said, because there was 2 gigs, Wednesday and Thursday. I said, and he'll verify that I was there because he can put you in contact with the lighting crew, sound crew, and even the organisers of the event. All right, okay, all right. And they never did ask me for that telephone number, so they must have just must have just believed me. So that was the gist of it. I had to go down the following night or the following morning down to the morgue, and I had to go and ID his body. Whatever had happened on the Wednesday, and it was probably, now me thinking about it, the person that knocked at the door, whoever that was.
Oh, goodness me.
So, knocked, and whatever happened on the Wednesday night because he was laying there for 2 days. And they caught the guy that did it. They actually arrested 2 guys, and one of them, they couldn't prove he was part of it, but the last one they could prove he was part of it, and he should be out now, to be honest with you, this fella. So yeah, he was laying there for 2 days, and I can't even begin to describe it. I won't go into too much detail, but he was green because his flesh was decomposing. Certain parts of his face were jet black, and other parts, most of it was white. He was just decomposing. So, because it wasn't cold in there, it's quite warm, and it's just not good. So that took a real kick in the whatsits. I took a real kick in the whatsits, to be honest with you.
I bet you did.
It's so shocking, Jason. It's unbelievable. So I've just got on with things, and that feeling still hasn't left me even now. And we're talking nearly 18 years ago now. 17, 18 years ago, something like that. So about a year and a half later, I'm taking loads of photographs of where I've worked, nightclubs, and I was going to make a website and put all these photographs on and different mobile setups and, this sort of stuff you do. And I noticed I started getting these little round circles of light. In the first picture, there was about 2 of them. And then as it went on, as the days went on, and I was taking more and more photographs, there were more and more and more of these little round circles of light, and it's really irritating me now. I've used 2 different cameras, thinking it's the camera. In the last one, there must have been 250, 300 of these little round circles of light.
Wow.
And it just kept multiplying. And at the same time, the Da Vinci Code had just come out. So I'd watched the Da Vinci Code, and that whole subject matter gripped me like nothing I've ever been gripped before. I went on breaks, little city breaks, to Florence to see in the Uffizi Museum to see the Birth of Venus by Botticelli, and I went to the Louvre in Paris, and I was going to Rome and looking round. Oh, it just caught me. The whole subject matter caught me, and I was just researching as to whether what Dan Brown, the clues were in the art. So I had to go and look at the original art piece for me, because I'm still a material person. I don't believe anything unless it's in front of me.
Was you starting to, when these circles of light were appearing in the pictures, was that prompting you to start at that point thinking, hang on a minute, there's something else going on here?
It was weird. When I researched it on the internet, and they started saying they were orbs, spirit energy. And I'm going, look, come on, look, please. It was 2006 or 2007, whatever it was at the time. I'm going, I can't be having this. This is not right. It's something to do with what I'm doing. So I went round to see a friend of mine, John. Now, John was heavily into his cameras and his photography. He takes thousands and thousands of photographs. In his lounge, he's got this special little canopy that he's made up with a light in it, and he puts a mouse in the light, and then he takes close-up photographs of the mice, and he really, really gets into it.
You were going to check your camera wasn't faulty initially.
Yeah, I wanted his opinion more than anything else, because if it's that easy to take photographs of these orbs, he must have done it. He must have done it.
That makes sense.
So I went, John, I'm having photographs of these orbs. They're saying it's orbs, spirit energy. I said, I can't believe that. He went, no. You got dust on the back of the lens. So I went, yeah, but it's two different cameras I've used, John. He went, no, it's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. He said, here, I've got a new camera. And he held a camera up like that. Got a new camera here. He said, I've taken about 200 photographs with this. I haven't had it that long. Let's go in my front room now, and we'll take pictures, and I'll guarantee there won't be a single orb in them. So I said, all right, come on in. Well, I was actually quite cocky at that particular point, because I could ask for them and they would turn up, as I found out in Florence when we were sitting there. The wife was in the shower, and I'm asking, pointing the camera up in the air, and I'm asking for all, give me one orb. But there you go, one orb. Give me 3 orbs now. Bang. There's 3 orbs, and I'm going, I still can't. It was ridiculous. Honestly, it's the most ludicrous thing. I would have been wetting myself laughing at me 20 years ago doing this. I'm doing this, and I'm getting the results. So anyway, we've gone into John's front room. So I said, take 3 pictures of me with flash on, and 3 pictures with flash off. So he said, okay then. He said, I'll do the 3 flash off first of all. So I went, all right, stand up against that wall there. So he went, click, 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 3 flash on. And then he took the card and he put it into his computer, and he pulled it up, 24-inch screen. It's as big as you like it. He's going, first picture, flash off. There you go, not a single orb. He said, there won't be any orbs in these, Mike. It's whatever you're doing wrong, he said, it's down to your camera. Second picture, not a single orb. He went, I'm telling you, there won't be a single orb. Third picture, there was a dozen orbs all round me. And he went, and it all went really quiet.
I bet it
and he went, that's not a flash. There's no flash in that picture. So it's not picking up something that's in the air and bouncing off it. And he went, I'm lost now. He said, whatever this is, it's not my camera. This is not my front room. Whatever this is, it's you. You're attracting whatever this is. So I went, oh, John, come on, mate. I can't, you're talking spooky dillo language now. You're off with the woo-woo people. I can't. Still very material. I'm fighting it every step of the way. So
Well,
I
of
went, I
course you are.
can't.
It's a very high. Well, if that's your worldview, like it was mine for a very long time, it takes a bloody lot of convincing.
Well, it does. Convincing is the right word, as you'll see. With the stuff that's coming up, I was being convinced. I was being explained to in a very simple form. So anyway, I thought to myself, I know, I'll go and see a medium, see what happens there. First medium I've ever went to. It was a lady called Lorraine Reese. She's the same as Charlie, the most amazing person I've ever sat in front of.
Charlie,
She's so accurate, like Charlie. She's so accurate. She's frightening. She knows things, and that's all. That's the only way I can explain it. That she shouldn't know. So because I was on local radio, I've gone in under an assumed name, and I've been speaking. She didn't come from the area. She come from outside the area. So I checked up on her first of all. She lived, I can't remember, she'd up the A12 somewhere she was living at that particular point. So I thought, right, she doesn't know my voice. Very little chance she's going to know my voice. She's not going to know my name. So I went in under an assumed name. And then she said, hello there, where's your date of birth? So I said, oh, it's so. Okay, yeah. Oh, you're a Gemini. So I said, yes. I've got your friend here. So I said, oh, have you? And I'm still sitting there going, oh, come on. Yeah, all right. Well, am I going to be a millionaire next week? Meet a man with a big black cat or something? You know the general things that you'd expect. Yeah. So she went, no, I've got your friend here, and he's saying you really were his best friend. So I said, okay. How did he die? And then she just started crying. She said he's come out of his body and he's showing me what they're doing to his body. She said, and he's done this on purpose so that you would start to listen. All right, okay. And she named, because I was caught up with the case, because I was down as a reference for him. The police were coming around and talking to me about certain bits and showing me photographs. Is this that? Is this? And I was involved a small amount in with the case. And the police said to me, don't say anything on air because you know stuff that we're not going to release. Right. Because they do that. They hold certain information back. And apparently, I don't know what it was because they didn't tell me, but I knew information that they weren't going to release. So she said he was high up, very, very high up. And looking out of his back window, it's a car park. So I said, yeah, it was. And I'm still going, no. All right, that was a guess. Good guess. So she went, he's telling me, she said, no, he's shouting at me. I have to say it. He's shouting for me to tell you angels exist. And I went, oh, that was like a slap round the face. And I've got goosebumps again just by saying it. And I just went, oh, hang on a minute. That's too close. That can't be. That can't. No. And then your conscious mind takes over again and you go, no, that was just a lucky guess. I mean,
again, it's about convincing, isn't it? I can relate to you in some ways, definitely. But sorry, carry on.
There's only so far you can take this lucky guess lark, though.
Yeah, of course.
So she started telling me about him, and she was spot on. Everything she said was spot on, and I'm still looking. I'm now looking for earpieces, although she doesn't know my name at this point. I'm looking for earpieces, and I'm looking up for cameras. I still couldn't fully accept it, even though I'd been slapped round the face with that angels exist lark. I still couldn't accept it. So she said, oh, you're going to get a phone call in about a couple of weeks or so. So I said, okay. She went, it's someone you haven't spoken to for 20 years, and he's going to offer you a part in a film. So I went, yeah, of course he is. Of course he is, love, because, you know what I mean, I'm Romford's answer to Brad Pitt. That was my exact words. So she went, ha, 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 ha. I don't think she was amused, bless her. I'm very friendly with Lorraine now, so an amazing medium, she really is. So anyway, I come out of there and I'm going, well, I don't quite know what to make of that, but I'll just treat it as it happened. And so I was driving to work at another gig down the A127 towards Southend. It was a Friday night. The phone started ringing, and it was 2 weeks to the day. I pulled over in a lane by, picked my phone up. Hello? Hello, Mike, it's Steve. Steve. No, I'm really sorry. Steve who? You know Steve. And then he relayed where he knew me from. So I said, oh, Steve. Wow, mate, I haven't spoken to you for... And I went, 20 years. And I went cold. And in the back of my head, there was a voice going, he's gonna say it. He's going to say it. He's going to offer you a part in a film. He's going to say it. And he went, listen, I've got a favour to ask. So I'm going, oh. And I've got goosebumps again. And I had goosebumps at the time waiting for him to say this. And I knew what he was going to say. And he said, how'd you fancy a part in a film? So I went, oh, yeah, all right then. He said, we're looking for a radio presenter. And you've got the right type of voice, so we want you to come down and you meet the director next Wednesday. And I said, yeah, of course I can. I put the phone down and I was shaking. He's getting too close now. And I really, really got a heavy, heavy gut feeling that somebody was trying to prove something to me. So I carried on with the gig. It's all I could think of during the gig. And I went home, and then, the following week, I still carried on with my researching of the Da Vinci Code and what have you, and looking into the existence of Christ's bloodline and so on and so forth. So the Wednesday came, and I went and met the director and writer, Bill. I said, hello, Bill, nice to meet you. He said, I'll take a seat, Mike. And Steve's sitting on my left, and Bill's sitting in front of me, the other side of the desk. And Bill went, he said, well, so, he said, we want a radio presenter. He said, I can hear the voice. He said, yeah. He said, you've got that part nailed off. Do you think you could repeat lines as if it was a newscaster? So I said, yeah, I can do that.
Do you know the funny thing about this as well, Mike, is the fact that you've got them both sitting next to you about this film. They don't internally know what's going on inside your head or how you're feeling. I can't imagine how you were holding it together with your lucky break.
It was really weird.
Was.
So I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay. He said, has Steve told you what the film's about? So I said, no, he hasn't said a word. He said, well, it's an English Da Vinci Code. And I went, I've just been researching that for however months. And then everything went quiet in the room. I've just been researching it. I've been, Christ's bloodline, so on and so forth. And then all of a sudden, Bill went, to Steve, you ain't getting me this time. So Steve went, I swear to God, Bill, I haven't said a word to him. I'd never told him what it was about. So it was all sort of like, oh, okay, all right. Well, we'll just carry on. And it was that really eerie feeling. So I went on the shoots, and I was because of my understanding of the Da Vinci Code. I was supposed to be this newsreader. Then all of a sudden he said to me, do you want to interview the cast and crew? So I said, yeah, but I can do that. That's not a problem. Now, the cast and crew were Danny Dyer, Martin Kemp, Gary Kemp, Stephen Burkoff, Alison Doody, Lois Winston. And it went on and on and on and on with these names that I've never worked with before in my life. I've only ever seen them in films. So I'm on a night shoot. And I'm talking to a really, really, really nice actor. His name's Errol. Sadly, he's not with us anymore. So I'm going, so how did you get into this, Errol? And he's going, well, it was a bit strange, really. He said, I got so-and-so, my agent know Bill, and Bill said, come and try out for a part. And so I said, oh, right, okay, all right. And he went, how did you get involved in it? So he went, I said, well, it's a bit weird, really. I said, but a medium told me that I was going to get offered this. I said, and I only went to see the medium basically because my best friend was murdered in Romford, And I named the date. It was the 1st of April or something like that it was. So, and he went, "Oh, really? Whereabouts?" I said, "It was in the YMCA." And he went, and it went stony silent. Back of my head, this is the nightclub DJ talking now. In the back of my head, I'm going, something's not right here. I've now got to back out of this situation without raising any alarms. So I've started to just take a step backwards really slowly like this. And he went, "What was his name, Mike?" And as I'm moving back, I went, Russell Aylett. And he went, "Mike, I was in the room next door to him. I'm the one that raised the alarm."
Oh my goodness.
He went, there was a nasty smell. And I said to reception that I think it's coming from the room next door to me. And again, I went cold. You know, when you get that feeling when you get a cold in the pit of your stomach and it goes boom? It doesn't make the noise, obviously.
I love your sound effects, Mike. I love them.
But it's just that boom feeling. You go, oh, and that's the feeling I got, and I went icy cold.
What on earth?
And I got that feeling again that someone is trying to prove something to me. They're desperately trying to prove it. So
where was you on the convinced barometer at that stage, Mike?
I was now, after that, I was up to about 85% convinced.
Oh, still not 100.
No, still not 100.
Still not 100.
Even now, 17 years later, I question it. I still question it.
Do you know what? I have moments where I do myself. I think to myself, did that actually happen? Am I reliving that in the right way? You know, I've had moments recently. I've been trying to connect with the spirit world. I thought to myself, hang on a minute, Jason, stop a minute. Is this... So I can relate.
So the filming went on and on and on and all the rest, and it all got finished. The film never did get released. It's on IMDb, and it's called The Rapture. And it's still sitting on a hard drive, as far as I know, somewhere with this huge cast in it. It still needs a lot of money needs to be spent on it, apparently. This is the last I heard. And no one was willing to put any more money in. He couldn't find any more backers, so it just stayed where it was. But I've had some really, really weird situations after that. My mother died around that time. I had TVs turning themselves on, coming up in the lead up to her funeral. TVs in the bedroom while I'm asleep, turning themselves on and off. And I sat bolt upright with this TV blaring out, and I've looked round. I thought to myself, I've leaned on the remote, and the remote was on the table over there. So I got up and turned it off again and went back to sleep. My wife, she was woken up with somebody breathing in her ear. She's a non-believer, a total non-believer in all this. So I'm the weird one.
So even despite what's happened, that's her view is no.
Still non, because I mean, all this is a very personal thing. You have to go through something, and she hadn't been through it, so it didn't exist as far as she was.
I think you described it well by those feelings you have. A lot of it is those moments where you go, hang on a minute, and when you explain it to someone else, even if you're in a relationship, that person hasn't experienced that.
No, they haven't. Yeah. It's a very, very, very personal thing. So I can't blame anybody for not believing what I'm saying. I've got to say that right at the start. I can't blame anyone, because I wouldn't have done.
I think you'll find the majority of the Soul Sync audience, Mike, will absolutely believe what you're saying.
Well, the only people that do believe are the people that have been through it, and they know, they understand.
Makes sense.
She was woken up in the middle of the night with someone breathing in her ear, and then she woke me up. She went, someone's in the room. Someone's in this room. So I got up, put the lights on, ready to chase someone away. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Just put the light, no one there. She went, no, someone was in the room. They're not here now. They was in the room. Turned the light off, tried to sleep after that. During the day, the TV would change channels. Volumes would go up and down and up and down. And I just put it down to the TV being knackered, to be honest with you.
Like
And
your
then-
camera being knackered.
yes, yes. That's the conscious part of the brain stepping in and trying to make sense of it all.
It is.
So we cremated my mum. Everything stopped. TV was perfect after that. Nothing wrong with it. So now I'd look back and go, someone was trying to get my attention, and possibly had a message for me. And because I'm not that open, I wouldn't receive the message. So I would see the TV going on and off. I was changed jobs. I was working on a radio station, Southend Seafront, and all this is going round in my mind. So we had to park in the Southend Sea Life Adventure and walk back because it was the weekend of it was a Friday actually, of the Southend Air Show.
Okay.
So as I'm walking back, I'm on my own. I've got my bag. It's about 5:45 in the morning. I was on air at 6. So I got my bag and I'm walking back, and there's a couple of people walking in front of me, and there was a guy walking about 10, 15 steps behind me. And then I've seen St John's ambulance reversing up onto the pavement, and the van was going beep, 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 and it's got 2 wheels on the pavement. The 2 people in front didn't take a slightest bit of notice, and they just carried on walking behind him. So he went, oh, and he had to put his brakes on. And I've stopped, and by that time, the guy behind me had caught up with me. And in my head, I'm going, why me? Why am I seeing all this? Why? What's happened to me to make me see these connections, and see any sort of sign from a spirit world, if you like? What's so special about me? Why is everyone not seeing it? And the bloke next to me went, and I was just thinking it, and he went, look at those, look. Haven't got a clue what's going on, have they? You know, though, because you're different. And he just carried on walking forward, and I went, excuse my language, I went, what the fuck was that? Yeah, he answered the question that was in my head that I was thinking. And again, I went cold, and I went, no, I've got to look into this now. I've got to look into this. Excuse my chair squeaking like that. So I went to work, and it just carried on. I started researching Carl Jung and synchronicity, which is basically what we're talking about now. For anybody that doesn't understand this, but your guests and your visitors will probably know all about synchronicity. But it's
Tell us anyway, Mike. We want to hear your interpretation of it.
It's 2 unconnected things happening in the same space and time to create a meaningful outcome.
I think that's very beautifully put.
Well, for example, if I was to wake up tomorrow morning and the alarms woke me up, so I've turned the radio on and there's Shaking Stevens going, Julie, 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 Julie. You go, oh, no, Julie. Oh, that's all right. That's a nice little song. I go downstairs, put the TV on, and the newsreader goes, and Julie said, and I went, there's that name again, Julie. Twice that's happened now. That's a bit strange. I get in my car, drive to work, and the number plate says in front of me, Julie 3, and I'm going to Julie again. Then 20 minutes later, a woman rings up, hello, Mike, it's Julie. That's a synchronistic event.
I think you've described that very well, Mike.
I think these happen to us all the time, but in 3 different stages of seriousness. I think the first one's happened, this could be thousands and thousands of times a day. The first one happens, and they're so light that we don't take any notice of them. We don't even notice them. The second lot happen, and we go, that was a coincidence, wasn't it? Wasn't that a coincidence? But when the third one happens, you go, oh, wasn't that weird? Because I've said it before now, before I understood. Oh, well, that weird. That's really weird. That happened to that. And I searched, and I've searched for him since, and I can't find him. There was a guy doing a blog because he noticed a lot of synchronistic events were taking place during his life. So he started writing them down. And at the end of a year or 2, he got himself a cup of coffee, he sat down, and he opened up the book and started reading through, because he now knows where he's been and how his life's evolved. He started looking at the diaries, and he was coming to the conclusion, as he said at the end of it, these synchronistic events were guiding me through life, and I thought I was making the decisions.
Yeah, it's really interesting because you say that, because I've talked about writing these things down, and it's a lot of people have mentioned this actually, and it's sometimes you don't realise the relevance of something until a later date.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting you say that.
When I look back through my jobs, every single job I've been offered, I've never gone for a job, apart from the very first one.
You've been embracing synchronicities for years before, Mike. You just hadn't even realised.
Didn't even realise it, no. But it's really weird. I don't think I've ever met anyone else, but every single job has been offered me by someone that I bumped into during the course of that job. They're, oh, come and work for me, I'll give you this. And it's gone on ever since I've been 15, so 45 years now.
These kind of paranormal events, are they still going on?
Yes, they do. They do happen. I'm a little bit more accepting to them now. I understand.
I imagine you would be 18 years later.
I had a very strange event a while ago. I won't mention the names, but I was texting someone, and I was telling them something that about someone else. Be careful of so and so, because so and so and so and so and so and so and so, like this. And then I've got a little desk in front of me with a computer on it and whatever, and I've got a stapler to the right-hand side of the computer. Then all of a sudden, the stapler fell off the shelf, and it didn't just go ba-dunk-a-dunk, as it does many times when I've knocked it off myself. It went bang, like this, and I went, oh. And that's the only thing that could have fallen down. And I went, it went off like a firework. So I had the computer open, and I got another friend of mine, John, a different John, who's a medium. So I said, John, I've just had something go on in my studio. So can you feel anything? So he said, okay. I said, and also I've got a media lawyer that I'm talking to that keeps calling me by the name of my sister-in-law's dead father. So he goes, okay then. Let me think. Okay, who was the person with the bad leg? He had a limp. So I said, yeah, that was this guy. That was my sister-in-law's dead father. Okay, who was the ex-Freemason? So I said, that was my sister-in-law's father. He went, all right, hang on, keep on. I'm on a roll. He's doing. And then he went, who was the ex-policeman? So I said, it's this guy again. And it was every single time, bang. He said, he's telling you not to send that text. Whatever that text is, and I don't want to know, he said, delete it, don't send it. And I've since found out that I was spot on. If I'd have sent that text, she would have gone and told the other person, and it would have all erupted all around me. So I was being guided at that particular point.
Mike, I must say, you're a very good storyteller. I have loved, despite the tragic, absolutely tragic circumstances behind the story, I think you explained it beautifully.
Oh, thank you.
I was gripped from the start to the end. I don't think I've sat back in my chair once since we started. I guess what's your... I'm guessing now you don't need any more convincing. I'm guessing you're 100% now, are you?
No, well, yeah, I am 100% now. I still question it, but that's not a big question now.
Well, don't question it too much, Mike. You might get another whole load of...
The last situation came, which was the cherry on the cake, was with Charlie Kelly. This John, the medium, used to run a small spiritualist church on a Friday night, not far from me. So I thought I'll just pop down there and sit and have a go and see if I can learn how to meditate and so on and so forth. And it was Charlie Kelly had brought 2 of his fledglings. So just in case you don't know, a fledgling is an up-and-coming medium. They're the ones that are being trained. Mm-hmm. So everyone said, come on, Charlie, you show us how it's done first of all before you put your fledge. Okay, no problem. And he said, I've got a guy here who he says his best friend is in the audience. So in my head, and I'm sitting over there, away from Charlie, right in the corner, I went, that could be Russ. No, nobody? Okay, all right. He said, he's telling me to tell you that people thought you were a bit strange because you knew how each other thought and you could pass information without actually doing anything. In my head, I've gone, that's Russell. I'm not going to say anything, though. I'm not going to make it easy for him. So then Charlie went, no, nobody. Okay, all right then. Give me a name. He went, Mark. Is there a Mark in the audience? So in my head, I've gone, it could be just a mispronunciation because it's Mike, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm making work for it a little bit harder. And in my head, I've gone, come on in, Russ, come and find me. So then Charlie went, oh, this ain't going to be easy, is it? He said, all right, stay, let me look. And he's going, there was about 40 people in the room. And he went, come on, point him out. Who is it? No. And he went, what's your name? I went, it's Mike. And he went, oh, everyone just started laughing. He said, does any of this ring a bell? I said, yeah, it's Russell. It's Russell. He said, I'm not going to make it easy for you, Charlie.
Well, on the subject of synchronicities, it's funny because Charlie Kelly's episode was only released on Friday. It was the last episode to be released on the Soul Sync. So there you go, Mike. There's a synchronicity for you.
Well, I didn't realise it was that close it had been released.
It was the last one I released. It was only released on Friday.
Exceptionally good. And the people he trains are very, very good as well. These 2 girls done a demonstration and they both read for the same person. It was amazing. It was amazing to sit and watch.
He's going to love that. I'll make sure I tag him in this when it goes out. Mike, I just want to say a massive thank you for coming and sharing your story with us today. It's been so fascinating. And I think you've told it in such good humour. I don't think you could have told the story better if you tried.
Well, it's you've got to keep your humour up and all the rest of it. I know we're talking about death sometimes, but it's part of life. It's part of the circle of life, and you have to accept it.
You do, and I think you're going to have brought so much joy to people with that story because I'm going to listen to it all over again. Probably when I'm sitting in the bath, Mike. Maybe with a glass of wine on a Friday, cheeky Friday, when I'm.
I've got another Lorraine Reese. Speaking of this, I'm going to let you go in a second. Speaking of this,
go on.
I used to sit in the bath because in the film The Rapture, it was they played Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. Do you know if they know the one? Dun 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 dun.
Yes, I know it.
That was within the film. So I was reading the script and I was playing that on my phone. And then I went to see Lorraine for a different reading. She went, Russell's telling you to stop playing that awful song. So I said, what song? She went, I don't know, but it goes dun 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 dun, and I just started laughing at that point. I'm going, this is getting ridiculous now. How many times can I argue with this? It's getting stupid.
I'm still only 95% though convinced. Only 95% now. I'm sorry.
It was Charlie Kelly and Lorraine, and there was another one. What's her name? In Canvey Island. I can't remember her name there. Grace Kennedy. 3 amazing mediums. Absolutely amazing.
I've never seen any of them demonstrate. I need to sort that out.
Oh, just they are amazing. There was another one called Francine Solomon. Sadly, she's not with us anymore. But again, I had the pleasure of being in front of these four people within about 2 or 3 weeks. Because I try not to go back to the same medium too many times because they know stuff about you. So I'm less convinced that it's coming from where it's supposed to be coming from. So yeah, I'm just blown away by all this, to be honest with you. And I keep an eye out for synchronistic events on a daily basis now.
I hope you're writing them down.
Oh, well, I'm not writing them down, but I do some.
Mike, right, we need to change that. That needs to be changed immediately.
The big ones I write down. I do.
I think you need to start writing them all down, Mike. I think they all need writing down.
To be honest, it would be a good idea. It would be a very good idea.
Well, listen, I've loved every moment of talking to you. Thank you for bringing so much good energy and sharing your beautiful story with me and all of the listeners here at the Soul Sync.
That's my pleasure, Jason. It was a lovely, lovely time I've had in the past hour. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Well, there we go. I hope you enjoyed this week's edition and the story as much as I did. Now, do remember you can go to my YouTube channel where throughout the summer, I'm going to be posting videos about life lessons that I've learned. And they're all aimed, really, with the purpose of helping you. I'm going to be doing one very soon about how to take control of your career, your life, your finances. It's a story of, I'm going to share with you my honest advice about how to advance in your life and your career. If you don't know about my backstory by now, I started a company, came from humble beginnings and grew that into a multi-million-pound enterprise. So there's lots over there on the YouTube channel. Just search Jason Paul Soul Sync. You'll be able to subscribe to the channel, and when I post a video, you'll know all about it. Do remember the Facebook group as always. Love seeing your comments on there. Again, just search Soul Sync by Jason Paul. So that's it for this week. Thank you very much for listening to the Soul Sync. Much love. Mwah. Goodbye.